Dude, let's go.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Untamed Outdoorsmen Automotive. Those of you who have been subscribed to us for a while, you may know that occasionally we do dabble in automotive-related content like this. This is not typically the norm, but this is something we do from time to time. We did a video on installing a center console lid to a 2014 Chevy Silverado 1500 a little over 2 years ago now, and that video did extremely well, and we're back installing another small part. And today we're going to be replacing the PCV valve. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of a PCV system, but I will say that a positive crankcase ventilation system is an important system in a direct injected engine. And the PCV valve is a equally as important component in that system. The PCV valve is a very easy to change part, and this will be for a 2014 Chevy Silverado 1500 with the 5.3 liter V8. That is the EcoTec engine, not the Vortec engine, the EcoTec engine. For the 5.3 liter only. It is different for the 6.2 liter and the 6-cylinder engines that they make for that truck. So this will be for the 5.3 liter V8 EcoTec exclusively. I believe this video will cover the 14 to 18 Silverado. I don't know about the 19 plus, but we're going to be replacing that PCV valve today. I do believe it is considered a maintenance item, so it is something you do have to change periodically. Don't quote me, but I believe the interval is around 70,000 miles, 70, and it needs to be replaced. My vehicle has 140,000 miles on it, and I bought it at 100,000, and I'm going to take a wild guess and assume that there was not a new PCV put into my truck at 70,000 miles. So we're replacing it today. It is definitely due for it, so we're going to do it. Some of the symptoms that come with a failing PCV are not things that you should let happen. It should not take the PCV to fail to replace it. Definitely something you want to replace as a recommended interval. Oil consumption is probably the number one issue related to a failing PCV valve or a bad PCV valve. You'll notice a lot of oil being used up out of nowhere. That is generally a sign of a failing PCV valve. So that is not something you want to let happen. This is one of those components where it's better to replace it while it's still good instead of waiting for it to fail and then replacing it. So yeah, guys, we'll get right to the truck. I'm going to show you quickly what you need to install this, but it should be pretty easy. Okay, so a few things you're going to want. You're going to want obviously a ratchet. It might be a little bit easier if you have one of those cordless Milwaukee ratchets to get the hose clamps off. It might make your life a little bit easier. I actually left mine at work, but we have this 3/8 ratchet here. That'll work. You're definitely going to want an extension. Probably pretty important to have an extension. You're going to want an 8mm socket for the hose clamps. And you are going to want a 24mm socket for the actual old PCV valve, taking it out and putting the new one in. You're going to want that. You're also probably going to want a rag of some kind because you're probably going to get a little bit of the residual like PCV stuff that comes out. Might get a little bit of that coming out, so probably a good idea to have a rag. And you're going to want to get a little bit of motor oil too. Just enough to be able to lubricate the seal on the new PCV valve before you put it in. Probably a good idea to do that. So yeah, guys, let's go out to the car. All right, so the first thing that we have to do when we're taking apart this PCV system is we have to take out this giant air box. So, should just be pretty simple. There we go. So you gotta push up. Okay, that's one. That's two. All right. So we gotta take our 8mm socket and we gotta hit the hose clamp right there. I do recommend not using a flathead screwdriver for this because you're not gonna be able to get it as tight as you would with a ratchet. I'm gonna loosen this guy. And I'm going to loosen the hose clamp over here near the air filter. Okay, wiggle the air filter out. There it is. Okay, so that's out. Now may be a good time to change your air filter while you're here too. All right, let me grab the camera here. So that is your PCV. That's your PCV valve right there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's your PCV valve right there. It looks like we got a tab to open up, but I'm also going to clean this a little bit, kind of clean up all the gunk that's in there, and then we'll take that out. Just be careful around here too. Got a lot of wires and stuff around here. Yeah, good thing I brought a rag. I don't think this has ever been serviced or anything before, so who knows? Just to kind of make my life a little bit easier. Okay, so now we're going to need our 24mm socket, but first I'm going to open this guy up. Okay, that's out. Yeah, a lot of these hoses are starting to get pretty brittle. Starting to notice like the sheathing on them starting to get pretty brittle. So good thing we're changing this out today. Okay, so we got that out. Now I'm going to take the 24mm and I'm going to take that out. Okay. Definitely use a rag here. Some oil, some residual oil may come out. So just be careful there. All right, that's out. So it's pretty filled with gunk. So a good way to test if a PCV is failing. So yeah, this is failing. This PCV is failing. It should make a really distinct rattling noise if it's failing. And this one clearly does not. It has a little bit of rattle in there, but it really doesn't rattle too good at all. So I'm glad we're replacing this. This is the OEM part number here. Try to get that to focus on you. GM part number, this is the PCV valve. Let me see here. So I'll show you guys of what a good PCV valve sounds like. Much more of a distinct rattle noise. And then just comparing them, they're identical. So yeah, glad this is getting changed today. Definitely in need of it. They definitely sound different. So yeah, that's definitely the original one, 100%. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to take just a little bit of oil and I'm going to lubricate this O-ring here. So that's why I brought some extra oil with me. Just this 0W20 I had laying around. All right. And I'm going to actually put a little bit in the cap. Probably a little too much, but whatever. Okay. Lubricate the threads a little bit, lubricate the O-ring with the new oil. All right, that's all lubricated up. And then just look in here too. Just make sure, you know, it's nice and clean, good mating surface. Just take your rag, kind of clean that up a little bit. Okay, so that's a lot more clean. Little maintenance things like this go a long way, guys. So if your car is burning a little bit of oil, it very well could be the PCV. So if your car has burning oil, definitely take a look at this before you think it's like piston rings or something like that. It could very well be a bad PCV. So guys, there's no torque spec on this. I tried looking for one online. There really isn't one. So probably just good and snug is more than fine. So that's what we're going to do. Just good and snug. Probably as far as I can go by hand. And also make sure you take the little green, this little green plastic thing. Make sure you take that out. Okay. So guys, the PCV, especially on this truck, the PCV is extremely important. Mainly because you don't want this truck starting to burn unnecessary oil. These trucks kind of get a bad rap for their lifter issues. And a big reason why those lifter issues happen is because of lack of oil and oil starvation. That's one of the big reasons why it happens. It's not all of them, but it is a reason as to why, is due to lack of oil and oil starvation. So definitely make sure you're replacing this. And there we go, it's tight. We'll just do a little bit more just for good measure, but it's obviously plastic, so don't go too crazy, but okay, that's all I'm doing. Okay, a lot easier than I thought. So now is a good time to take a look at this hose too, just to give you an idea of if it was failing or not. And there's definitely some gunk in there. So I'm gonna clean that up with our rag too. I know this video will probably bring in some new viewers. We're mainly a kayak oriented channel, kayak fishing channel, but sometimes we dabble in these automotive videos. So if you enjoy what we do, be sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate you sticking around, but thank you for watching nonetheless. Okay, so I'm gonna do this one more time. Just kind of take your rag, make sure it's nice and clean. Definitely some gunk down there for sure. All right. Now I'm gonna just pop this guy back on. There it is. Clicked right in place, so that's how you know. All right. I hope you guys can see that good, but that's the completed PCV valve right there. So once you're threading the new PCV on, it won't feel tight until the very end of the threads. Then it'll get really tight because of that O-ring seal. So just snug, just nice and snug is plenty for this. There's no torque spec that I could find. We're going to reattach our intake, but I'm just gonna triple check that it's all good. Take this as an opportunity just to kind of look at stuff in here, make sure everything's good. Looks to be the case. Okay, that should be good. But yeah, guys, so I think we're in good shape. Let's get the air box back on. Also, this is a very cheap thing to do too. That GM OEM part literally cost me $7. So there's no real reason not to do something like this, especially if you're due for it. But all right, let's get this back on. Okay, so I think we're good. These little clamps just kind of pop back into place like that, and they should pop. There it is. Then just triple check, push down on it. Okay, now the other one. Good to go. Just give it a good wiggle. Make sure they're good. And then I'm going to tighten this hose clamp down and that hose clamp down with the 8mm, not the flathead screwdriver. This is where the cordless ratchet would be very helpful. Now this guy, same thing. Okay, that's good. It's tight. Just to visually confirm it's fully seated. Yep, we're good. Okay. So yeah, guys, that is it. That is literally the entire PCV valve replacement. That took me about 10 minutes to do. Not hard at all. Anybody can do it as long as you're not intimidated by working on cars. This is a very simple and very easy thing to do that very well could solve your oil consumption issue. I would definitely, if you're burning oil, I would definitely try putting a new PCV valve in it before you get worried about potentially a big engine repair. This is definitely worth it. I wasn't burning any significant amount of oil that will cause any real concern, but we were at the kind of 140,000 mile mark. I figured, you know, a $7 part, might as well put a new one in because I don't want issues to start because of a bad PCV valve. But yeah, guys, let's go back to the garage. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed that install and it was able to help you. Again, this is something that is just a preventative maintenance thing for me. But if you're in a situation where you're burning oil and you can't really figure out why, your engine has good compression, this is a good thing to possibly fix. It's cheap, it's wicked easy, and it could possibly be the answer as to why your engine's burning oil, especially in higher mileage. It could be the answer. It's not a guarantee, but it could be. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. I know there's a couple other videos out there on installing a PCV, but I felt this video was necessary, and hey, I was throwing a new PCV in, might as well help somebody else out along the way. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. To all my fishing fans and followers, don't worry, we're going right back to fishing content in the next video. But if you're new here, definitely consider staying around. We put a lot of effort into our videos. So thank you guys so much for watching. See you later.